Take a look at the higher time frame right here. What we have right here is something, it's actually something that I talked about in the last Monday call as well. And if you go to my Twitter and probably check out the post, the outlook that I posted on Friday, I talked about this exact setup right there. That is, prices were around here last week. Prices were just around here. We first of all printed this higher low, and honestly, this was just like a prime time to enter onto BTC. And if you still didn't manage to get onto BTC, it's completely fine. But if you manage to fumble the trade that we have right here, the flip of the long POC that we have, I would like to know why, because this is something that we discussed about in quite detail, that if price comes back up to the POC, because you have to understand that this POC has been here since the start of June. So June, July, August, almost September. So that's like almost 3 months of volume accumulated at just one singular point, right? And that one singular point needs to be flipped. And it has flipped like sometimes, like right here, it's bounced off of here, it's bounced off of here, and right here is just chopped. Most of the time, it's repositioning. It has bounced off of here as well. Right here, it rejected off. But this one here is a pretty clean bounce. There's a lot of bit like holding it and running it much higher. And taking a look at this right here, exactly why I was like, if we get a bounce off of this level, because this has acted as a resistance for us, for the POC itself, the point of control where almost all the volume has occurred, is to flip. That means that buyers are in control and they're going to rotate the prices. First of all, the first usual POI that we have is the value area high, right? And so the second POI that we are looking for would be these highs. So you can see right here, there's quite a lot of liquidity built up into these highs. So we're going to take them pretty easy right here and even right here. And honestly, I don't really see BTC stopping any so far very soon. And the only time I would actually be interested into looking for a short now would be if we are able to SFP either of these highs. For everybody that's in the chat, if you guys can like take a look at my stream, if there's any problem, just let me know in the chat because some people are having a problem. If it's fine, I will continue. Now, taking a look at these highs right here, even though there's a lot of liquidity that's built up right here, if on the condition that there are some buyers that just retardedly enter into the highs and then just get trapped because there's no more buy delta that pushes price, we might look for a short. And the short would look something like this. On an SFP, I wouldn't just ape onto it. I will wait for a price to come back below the highs. I will put my stops at whatever the high gets formed, and I will look for a retracement first of all to this FVG that is being formed right here. As you can see on the 15-minute, on the 30-minute, there's this FVG, which I will most likely position myself if we form a low and then we do a break structure on the low, and then we could see a rotation even all the way down to the value area low. Now, this is the most likely scenario that could happen because we are still pretty much in a range. I wouldn't say that it has broken out of this range at the moment. I would agree that it has broken out of a range only once it has pretty much reclaimed the prior range and has started to slow grind into the prior range. That would be a confirmation. Okay, any sort of reversals that we were looking for price to go all the way down to 63k are now invalidated. And the trigger for that trade would be we just wait out for a structural grind to form, and then we can just ape on to the longs right there and then. And the TP for that long would be easily 71k, 72k, and that would be very justified. So there's these two triggers at this level that we're looking for. That is a long once we have retraced and reclaimed back into the prior value, because there's a lot of liquidity that is sitting into these highs as well, because we have pretty much rejected monthly. This is like monthly highs first. This is the monthly high for June. This is the monthly high for July. So there's a lot of liquidity sitting above these highs, right? Now, let me go back to the lower time frame to talk about the entry triggers that we will be looking for. First of all, you have to understand that this is a pretty clean bullish structure. We have flipped the middle, like the rebalancing of positions in the middle, and we have turned that bullish. And as you can see right here, we have formed pretty nice like higher lows, as you can see. higher lows and higher lows, and there's quite a lot of like lows with a lot of bidding continuing into them, a lot of break structure happening, and right around here is where momentum really kicked in. This is a 3 minute chart, but if you go to the 1 minute chart or the like 15-second chart, you're going to obviously see. Let me delete what I have on my chart real quick for explanations. As you can see right here, we had a lot of momentum grind into like a bearish PI, because we could have rejected off of here. We could have actually formed a lower high, but we did not. We had a lot of impulse just being thrown by the bidders into these short pivots that we had. And even right now, we're just pretty much grinding into it. Like right here, I could consider this to be a higher low, and then it could form this higher low and pretty much like continue much higher. That's something that we could see likely happen at the moment. Like honestly, if I wasn't planning to do a stream today. Anyway, if I was, I would have done it an hour ago. But by that time, you would have already missed all of these entries. But one entry that I would actually be looking for when we're talking about a scalp right now is if we are able to get this higher low and we are able to get some momentum kick into it, that would be a 2 hour trade setup that I would be looking for. And the TP for that would be, again, this high that we are looking for when we're talking about like an SFP, because that's when sellers are most likely to kick into. Now, let me take a look at the poll that everybody's posted. Like, if you guys haven't seen this poll, please watch your positions into this poll, so I have an overall understanding of what sort of positions everybody is in at the moment. One more thing, the post that I did on Friday was honestly a trade like this. This is the trade setup that I shared. And the reason why I'm not extending and giving hopium to everybody right here is because we have still one condition to fulfill out before we can expect a rotation all the way up to the value area high. And that's pretty much this reclaim of the value area low that we have right here. Any questions so far for any people? Oh, there's like 11 votes. So 69% to like 71% of people are basically just long at the moment. Well, that's a lot of people that are in longs at the moment. Just something that I would definitely warn you off is to not position yourself heavily once any of these highs are taken, because you don't want to be caught offside and don't want to be used as a fuel for the the SFP, and that would like turn out to be pretty shit for a lot of people. Let me just clean my chart real quick while you guys can like ask any questions in the chat. If you guys have any questions, just spam them in the chat, which I will look for in a second. Let me just clear out what I have on my chart. For the people that don't get what levels I have at the moment, basically I have one volume profile that I have marked from this level, the start of this range. And the reason why this is the start of this range is because we had a trend and the trend started exhausting here. And then even though it spiked higher, but it's pretty much the level where it started to like exhaust and then stick around till for quite a long time. So that's the pivot that I have marked out. And this range that we have that I've extended from the start of the actual range all the way to current price level is pretty much having the same value area low and value area high, even though like as you can see my value area low was somewhere around here, like this volume profile I marked like 2 to 3 days ago, and now that you can see the value itself has moved up. What that means is there's more and more positions entering into the high, so it usually leads to a breakout into the value that we have formed. There are some positions being shared in the chat. Let me just take a look at them. So my TP is 67,500. 67,500 by rejection round. Let me see. Your entry is pretty good. Like, guys, if your entry is somewhere around here, or if your entry is here, or maybe even here, right? This is where my personal entry is. You are set to go. You are doing pretty good, pretty well, comparatively to pretty much everybody that's out there. The only level that I would actually be afraid of and expect a reaction of would be either of these highs, because this is something where we can SFP, and there's a lot of like trapping that can go on about these levels. So that's where we want to like be cautious for. And honestly, if you still don't understand it, the only level that you actually want to take a short at would be either when we like SFP this and then we get the trigger. No, just no like blind aping into a short. Either this would be the setup, or the other setup that's like actually there for a short would be when we once we like break down this value area low that we have right here. And for that to break down, there's quite a lot of like distance in price for it to come there. So that's something that's most likely not gonna happen anyway in this week, so we're just gonna pretty much like ignore this. And for the longs, for the longs, there's quite a lot of like entry triggers. First this, then this, and this. And the one that's very near to us is pretty much a slow grind happening in around the structure that we have right here. So this is the higher time frame outlook that we have at the moment about positioning. And when we talk about like a minor rotations, and for minor rotations, it's just going to be like, let me just explain it a little bit better so it's easier to understand. Let me just clear out whatever I have on my chart. And when we talk about like minor scalps for longs and shorts, if you take a look at this right here, this is the overall structure. We have higher lows, and the only pivot that you actually want to look for a possible short trigger would be once we start to pretty much just start to break down this momentum that we have right here, and that would be a short trigger. And honestly, if we do get the sweep of the high is what I am actually expecting, that would be a much better trade to actually take, because then we would know that there's a lot of buyers trapped into the highs, and their liquidations all the way to the low will hold price to go further lower. This is one setup, and the other setup would be if we come back successfully with that short setup to the higher lows, we are going to print another high low right around here, which is going to give us another long setup right around here, which probably carries price much higher. So this is the only sort of setups that we gotta be looking for when we talk about the current market prices and the overall action. As long as you have an idea of what rotations that we are going to do, like if we come into this value, we're gonna go much higher. That's all you need to understand. Now look, now let's talk about like the higher time frame real quick before we move on to the next topic. Like the hard time frame, we're talking about daily, we're talking about weekly, we're talking about the overall scenario that's going to happen. Now, if you take a look at this right here, actually, let me go to the daily time frame. For the people that are new here and for the people that have not joined these sessions before, I'm just gonna tell you something that I've told like pretty much other people in this call. Let me just draw out a fractal if it works. Not sure why like my fractal button isn't working, but it will. I will just show you what I am expecting for when you're talking about the hard time frame, and how and where I am going to be looking for buys, and where I'm going to be looking for spot sells. And honestly, this is the levels I'm looking for when we are talking about the higher time frame, spot buys and sells. And if you start DCing right now, let's just say you have a portfolio of like 10K, and if you want to start DCing right now, you can start buying like $100 worth of BTC, or you can start buying like $50 worth of BTC every single day. You can use like, you don't have to do it manually. You can actually use some tools to do it for you. There's Rivers for US, and there's a terminal, Silica terminal for people outside of US, and you can just use these tools to start stacking and DCing on BTC. So if it goes up, you're still stacking. If it goes down, you're still stacking. So you don't have to actively manage your hard time frame position, even if it comes around here. And you can lay that out in like 4 months of span. So you can buy like 50 BTC, $50 worth of BTC every single day for the next like 4 months to get your fill of like 10K, or you can buy $25 worth of BTC for the next 4 months to get your fill of like 10K. You can do any sort of entries and orders like that, and I would recommend people to start entering into spot eventually at some point. If you're not looking to like position heavily into it, I do recommend you start DCing at some point, because this is like pretty good level to consider for buys. This is the discount of this entire asset, and the worst cases would be 30K, 20K, but that's most likely not gonna come. The worst case scenario that's gonna happen is that we're gonna bounce off of here, and we're gonna come back all the way around this high. We're gonna put in another lower high, and then we're gonna like readily and rapidly form a move down, and then from that move down, we're gonna form a range, and that range is going to be the last down range that BTC is going to see. Maybe one more spike down, but any sort of spike down is going to lead for a move up like this. It's going to be a little slow. That's why I'm telling people to start averaging into it so you don't miss the entry as well, and you can average that into like a few weeks worth of time, and you can definitely like get a lot of things in for BTC and your overall position. And you can like position into BTC, you can position into Ethereum, Solana. I don't recommend Solana at the moment, but if altcoins is something that you trade, you can go for it. I do recommend Hype, and I do recommend Trump as well. So some of these coins that have potential and can run back much higher when the actual bull market kicks in, I do recommend that you guys take into cater your higher time frame spot positioning as well. And that's pretty much it for the higher time frame and the lower time frame outlook that we have at the moment. Let me just go through the questions that are being asked in the chat real quick. Let me just share my entire screen. Okay, let me just take a look at the questions that we have. Agree. Now, until we reclaim cleanly mid 66K, 10 weeks reclaim, then there should be no fresh positions enter with big size. 66K, you mean? Actually, let me delete all of what I have in my chart right here. Let's go back to the hourly, the 30-minute chart real quick for us. 66K is right around here. Yeah, you don't need to enter any sort of positions until either of those triggers are hit around this level, because this is the middle, literally the middle. This is where I consider it to be an imbalance. When you talk about like auction market theory, anything that's outside of balance is imbalance. So we don't want to try to position in here. We do want to look for like triggers once it either SFPs or reclaim this. That's all you need to worry about. Everything else you can just like pretty much ignore. Are you speaking? I am speaking. I'm pretty sure like everybody else can hear me. Do you think it would be ugly if you rotate to 62K value area low again? I don't think it would be ugly at all. Like, I think it would be pretty beautiful. It would be a pretty nice structure to see that we get an SFP and then we get a rotation and then we get a rotation to this FVG that we have right here. So it would be a pretty nice setup to actually execute. Something that's like really ugly would be, do we have an example of that? Would probably be something like this, something that's very random, very choppish. That would be like very ugly. Something that's very clean is gives you a lot of like setups and preparation to enter. It's like pretty good to see. Shini, I've been trading with only $1,000 consistently for 5 months now, or using like 300 using my monthly school. Should I add more size to my position? Like for example, I recommend you start trading on prop firms. Honestly, I'll just start telling you, if you have a portfolio that's under 10K, I recommend you guys to like just go over prop firms. Honestly, start out with like Claim Funding for now, because that's their team is people that I know, and you can actually use Shinicord as a code to access any of these accounts. And for the people that don't know about prop firms, it's a sort of company that lets you trade bigger account sizes for very low money, right? Something like I think the cost is like somewhere described here. So if you just go click on it, for $95 you can actually get a 10K account, and if you use a Shinicord code, you can actually get a 10% discount on all of these as well. So I recommend you guys to like start out with prop firms if you have like an account that is under and below 10K, because I don't believe you, especially if you don't have a consistent job, if you don't have proper funds for yourself or for you to carry on with. Like if you lose this $1,000, what do you have to your name? Do you have a job that can like replace that $1,000 loss again by the next month? If you don't, then I recommend using prop firms to build up your portfolio slowly. If you had like showed that same consistency on a 100K account, if you had spent like $700 to get a 100K account, and that same consistency that you said you turned $300 into 1K, you could have had a pretty much a very big payout comparatively to what you have achieved with just $1,000. So that's why I recommend people to like go and start over with funding crowdfunding accounts and prop firms for the people that are just starting out and have even if you're not starting out, even if you're like trading for 3 4 years, I do recommend to go for prop firms because they have a lot of leeway to themselves when you're taking risk and it's not your money. RP said, Chini, you look for SFP here on what time frame? I am going to actually look for the SFP for me wouldn't be classified as just 1 week, even though a week would be much better. But I would definitely look for that week to be hourly or 4 hour. But if you do get like a one spike or even two spikes, that's going to be like an FEG for me as well. As long as I am able to see a lot of buyers get trapped into the high, I am going to be looking and using order flow for that. What alts are you looking for next cycle buys? That's something that I'm going to make a list of this week, and I will be sharing that later on. And if you guys have any sort of alts that you're looking, you can share that with me right here as well. Um, Alberto said, "Hey, Shini, one question. Beginning of your trading journal, you're beginning with funding, and how much was your funding account? If you have, listen, if you have a low portfolio, anything that's below 10K, even 5K, 4K, I recommend you start out small. You start out with a 10K account that you can get for like $90, as you can see right here, like a 10K account or a 5K account, and then just try to like trade on that for like a week or two. And then once you have that, you can actually start to ramp up your accounts to 50K to like 100K even, and then you can start shifting your risk. The account that I had like $120 to my name, which I blew, and then I started to like put in money from other projects that I used to do back in the day, and then I was able to run up my accounts. Funded accounts, I didn't know back then, but if I did, I would have had way more money on me back in the day than I had. Luffy said, "Sir, how do you use fixed volume profile correctly? Is it used on swing structure?" Actually, if you go to my course on Whop, which let me see if I can open it right here. I think if you just go to my course on Whop on Shinix Flow, not this one right here. It's I have a free course, um, right here. Products. If you go to Shinix Flow on Whop, and if you click on the 101 that's right here, I do have a free course on pretty much everything that I trade with. And in this video right here, Auction Market Theory, I'll explain how to use volume profile, every single components of it, and how to accurately draw a volume profile as well. So it's pretty cool. You can actually go to the free course that I have on Whop, and it's shared in my pinned tweet. So just go to my Twitter profile, and then you'll have access to it. Let me take a look at the lower time frame real quick before I answer more questions. We might be able to get a scalp or two in. Honestly, this right here is just an example of a slow grinder structure. Even this usually turns out to be well, like how I used to trade it was like I would just take a look for the higher lows that get formed and then just go for a 2 hour setup, and then eventually it would just like spike into one candle, and then it like would retrace pretty much very hard into it, and then it would hold the low, and then it would carry on. That's usually how you can trade like volatile environment, especially if you're talking about like trading BTC or Ethereum, an asset like that. Another question that I have to see is the payout real? Because yes, payouts are real. A lot of my friends have taken it out. I have taken it out. It's not a show. It's not like fake. Payouts are real. The only way and the only reason you believe that payouts might not be real is because you and your friends have probably lost accounts, not having a good strategy. Vic said, maybe I'm a little biased, but BTC can rip from here without going below 60K again. Most likely can. It doesn't have to go all the way down to 60K. It can rip all the way up from here because we are above the value area high. So that's what we were looking for. We're just in the middle at the moment. As you can see right here, we're in the middle. So we have some conditions that we have to follow for us to tell, okay, if it's going to 71K first or if it's going to 61K first. Um, what if they close down like microfunding? No, Claim Funding is pretty good. I know the team. For the thing that happened with the micro funding is that they had this issue with the payouts at some point, and honestly, the owner cancel offer payouts. I am actually trying to reach him out, but he is apparently not replying to me at all. But once he does, I can give a better insight on what happened with my crypto funding. But they used to pay out like pretty much all of the time, and eventually by the end of it, they just like ended up selling their company to another team, and that other team sort of just didn't have a proper backup for them. Alex said, "How Shini, how you doing? Where you been on vacation? Are you fully fresh now?" I am fully fresh at the moment. I cannot disclose my place of vacation. And when am I going to start mentorship program? I am going to start that in a month. September 20th or around September, somewhere there. I'm going to start taking in students as well. For 3 months, and then we are going to close for that as well. Little said you said you started marking out the fixed volume profile from the exhaustion pivot, but that can be a bit subjective. Can you explain a bit more? What do you mean by it being a bit subjective? Can it be different to comparatively to pretty much everybody? Would you agree this is the pivot exhaustion? Would you agree this to be the pivot of exhaustion? I would refine my pivot of exhaustion to a pivot where exactly where the trend stops, and that doesn't have to be subjective. It would likely be objective because that's where the actual trend just stopped. I mean, there is some discretion and subjectiveness to it. Like, you can just consider this to be a trend, or the long term, if it like continues to trend, we could have considered this to be a trend all the way up from here. But that's something that happens once we are like confirmed that's a trend. Like for us, this low from here to here is where the trend happened. The straight line up or the straight line down is what I refer to as a trend. Del said, how do you grow your personal branding till now, Shini? I actually don't grow my personal branding at all. Well, all I do is like post trades and try as much as I can to help out people, and that just like ends up helping me out as well sometimes. James said, Shini, what about NPOC at 65,960? Can it cause a strong rejection? 65,960. I don't have it marked at the moment, but let me take a look at 65,960. This is something that's most likely gonna happen. This is the round number thing that we talk about a lot. 66K. There's a lot of cells that are going to be sitting around here, and if we have an NPOC sitting right around here, we're going to reject from it very, very hard. That's something that happens pretty much very often because round numbers have a lot of order sitting at them. So if prices are to come there, they are likely going to reject. And the reason why they don't get hit before is because what traders do is they front run them, and the people that have their orders sitting here, they think and they see that their entries are being front run, and what they do is they add on, they close their orders here, and then they just ape onto the market orders right here, creating a cascade that leads to a move further lower. How can your line be so straight? I have no idea. I just use the MacBook pad that we have, and then I just like sort of draw the lines out. Um, Vince said, could you elaborate on this, or is just that in a trend you simply expect the nearest FEG sweep? That's a good question. Should I wait for this POI or this one or this one? Honestly, I will tell you something that will clear it out for you pretty well. Like if you have your price all the way up here and if you have multiple POIs, usually there's only two POIs you want to look for. First of all, the POI that sits right around the current market price, and that one is going to be I think it's going to be around this one. So because this FEG is already mitigated, so it's going to be this FEG, which exists just right around the VWAP right here. And the second one is going to be the extreme pivot. So these are the only two pivots that you're going to be looking for when we are talking about a POI or a point of interest that's close to price. It's the one that's closest to the price, and it's the one that's further extreme to where the entire move had started from. These are the only two pivots that you want to look for, and that's the strongest pivots because that's where actual order flow resides. Hmm. Yeah, you can hold shift while you draw as well. Alberta said, "Can you real quick show us how to use TPO and how that works?" Honestly, TPO is something that you guys will have to first prove to me that you understand volume profile, and then I'll start talking about it. Because TPO is pretty complex, and if I start just yapping about TPO at the moment, a lot of you won't get it. and even if you do get it, it's not like you would be able to like input that into your strategy. So the first things you want to get done with are the basic components of your own trading. And once that's done, you would actually be able to understand TPO better. Because TPO is again a complement. It's not something that like is like a complete different strategy. It's just a component, a part of the strategy. And before you get into that strategy, you need to know about your levels, your price action, your order flow, and then you want to mark out those levels. Volume profile is not that hard, honestly. Like for the people, like it's not that hard. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's pretty easy. All you gotta do is just start marking out volume profile, see how our rotations are working, see how all of that is like summing up for you. And once you are able to do that, it will be like very easy to just like understand and use it pretty much all the time, like I do. Is it important for your entry or TP? TPO is pretty important when we're talking about rotations. For entry and TP, you can definitely have levels in TPO that you can mark out. But for entry and TP, again, price action components matter way more. Hello Shini, any tips on how much to risk to pass 10K count? I would prefer and I would recommend to start with 0.5%, but just don't do a dynamic risk, do a static risk. You need the risk to be the same, but 1% is pretty good as well if you have your strategy in place and if you know what you're doing. Is a pretty good way to like start and really just take a leap into like actual trading. What footprint do you use? Footprint cluster or footprint profile? I use both. Sorry, I use footprint cluster more. Footprint profile, I don't use that much because I don't really like footprint profile at all. I already have volume profile and that outlook on myself. Is the mentorship going to be one-on-one? Yes, it's going to be one-on-one, but I'm going to announce it later on. I just want people to learn about the free course that I've already put out and pretty much all of the component. And once the people have like an understanding of what they can do with the chart, with the knowledge of price action, auction market theory, and order flow, they would be able to understand, okay, now they need to start working on their executions. Which platforms do you use footprints in? I personally use ExoCharts for footprints, and that's pretty cool. You can use Sarah, you can use actually Coin Allies as well, all of those other as well. Thanks, man. And is XBT your clan tag? And why do so many people have that name XBT to like Rizel XBT? Honestly, that's a very good question. The tag XBT comes from the coin ticker XBT in BitMEX back in the day, and that's where it originates from actually. And the Bitcoin sticker used to be XBT back in the day generally, and we used to like just mark out it in our names because we were Bitcoin traders, just scalpers talking about and trading about Bitcoin pretty much all of the time. And honestly, I had that in my name initially. Some people had that in the name initially, and I remember there were just like there were like just 10 or 15 people that had this name in their name because it didn't make sense back then for a lot of people. Like you can see there's a lot of people these days who have ETH in their name. It's just a way of representing which pair we're like uh actively trading, and a lot of people like Rizel XBT and a lot of people these days have adopted it from me, and I know pretty much for sure they were not trading back on BitMEX back in the day. So it has actually just become like a clan thing at this point. Like everybody just like is XBT apparently because like other people are XBT as well. So it's like a lore that developed, and I apparently am a very huge part of developing it as well. They'll say if I successfully pass 100K funded, will I get a girlfriend? You just might, because if you have money, you might. I've seen a meme where there was just this one guy that was like trying to show a girl his fund account, but he was on demo. He was like on phase one back then, and apparently this girl was also like trading fund accounts, and then she exposed him, and then that was like that's something. If you don't do that, I'm pretty sure if you successfully pass the funded account, you might just get a girlfriend. Shini, currently, are you trading with your own money or using funded accounts? I am personally trading with my own money. I don't have to use funded accounts. I'm trading with my own funds. And if you guys are like actually trading with your own funds, I do recommend there's like a campaign that I am doing with CoinW at the moment. You can actually deposit money, and then if you are able to get like 30 million of USDT volume, and the way you are actually able to get volume is by opening and closing positions. You can have actually priced pool in the tournaments, and that's something that is something that I will share the link of as well in the chat, that you can go over and just study about this campaign that I'm going to do for the next 20 to 30 days. We can like start a trading competition for the people that trade with their own money on CoinW, and then we can actually have like pretty nice decent rewards for having quite a lot of volume, which usually you don't really get as a person that's not an affiliate with an exchange. So it's pretty cool to get some free rewards time to time. Which what exchange are you using currently? I'm trying out CoinW at the moment, but I also use Circular Terminal for Bybit. By the way, this trade is going pretty well. Like I said, like all you have to do is observe like higher lows in real time. And let me just clear out a lot of shit that's right here. And if I mark out like this on the microstructure, it's pretty much the same as what we mark out on the hard time frame structure. And only the reason I like had this trade was just continuation. And then you first follow like a 2 hour fixed rate setup. And then it's going to be something that you can just like extend based off of how well the trade itself is performing. And this is how you find out like real-time markups and setups that you can find out using um this price action alone. You don't have to get into overflow or AMT and even TPO, all of that right at the moment if you don't have your microstructure and your price action set and correct. Shini, what's your usual daily life look like? I actually just wake up, I take a look at the charts, I post the daily outlook, and then I make food, I eat food, I go to the gym, I come back, and then I attend to some business. I have some business on the other hand as well. I attend to some business, some meetings, and then after the meetings, I have some projects upcoming, or I sometimes record videos like the YouTube videos that I'm recording at the moment, like the free course I recorded, and I have some more projects related to trading coming out. So I just like sort of just record those. And by that, and by the end of the day, my day is pretty much over. And that's when I'm like logged in. Like I'm pretty much like replying to DMs, replying and working, and creating new content, and also attending to my business. That's pretty much what my day looks like when I am pretty much logged in. And but when I'm taking a vacation, I'm somewhere else in some other country or city, and usually just walking around or doing something that's very like adrenaline focused. Alberto said, "What is the biggest part of trading with emotions? Your opinion?" You don't want to trade with emotions. You want to like remove emotions. That's something that I talk about in the course as well. You want to have a system that is deprived of emotion, a system that does not know emotion. So emotions is going to lead to errors and mistakes only you as a person can do. Diablo said, for new trades, you wait for 66k reclaim or a retrace into M5 FUG. I have talked about the triggers, and the triggers are just waiting for either an SFP for a short or waiting for a slow grind into 66k or above 66k, 66,400 even, and then just aping onto a long there. And this is the lower time frame scalp that I have at the moment. And the way it's developing at the moment, it's gonna like spike up and then just shoot and send a candle real quick. I can literally feel it. And there we go. One candle, we might get another big candle, and this could just turn out pretty well, pretty much higher, and it could turn out pretty good. For a 2 hour trade, if you had taken a 2 hour trade, you would have hit TP by now. I actually have my hit like TP right around 66, oh sorry, 65 800 at the moment. If you are in a trade something like this, you can actually like try to TP right around here, take TP1, and then just let the rest of the trade with the stop loss right around this low, or just a little above break even, and that would be very cool. It's just like I feel like a lot of people don't still understand about continuation setups. You can just like, if you miss the bottom, if you miss the bottom here, if you miss the bottom here, and if you just like ape on to like a continuation trade, you can still make the same amount of money or even more, just pretty much trading the market. As you can see right here, like continuation trades are so easy. All you have to do is just enter them and let the market do its job. Like the first trade that I had was like 2 hour, and I told you, if it starts like extending, and I feel like it's going to pump from here based off of like a continuation setup, I'm gonna keep running my TPs higher and higher. And that same 2 hour trade that a lot of people would have avoided taking right around here turned out to be a trade that's currently up like 4 hour. It's going even higher at the moment. I currently have my like I told you, like my TPs above, and I keep, all I have to do is I just move and drag my TP to the next pivot again and again. Oh, by the way, like this has like hit 66 rejection, so we're gonna like get a pretty strong rejection off of here. So if you do have a trade still, you can partially TP and it's going to retrace a little, but then it's gonna catch some momentum and start running higher again. That's what's gonna happen. So that, with that said, like if you understand about continuation setups and trading, which is something that I actually explain in the course right around here. I think it's like somewhere around the only entries that matter here. Yeah, the continuation entry. And if you understand about that, you don't have to like catch a bottom or a top. You can just trade continuation and still end up being profitable comparatively to the rest of the people. And it's a pretty good, it's a pretty good way to like trade the market, because all you have to do is just enter onto the trade and the market just like does its job for you. Sorry, Shini, one last question. How to know if some rejection is quick, which we can enter straight away or wait certain high hold? I recommend to wait for a certain high hold always. You don't want to enter ASAP unless you are looking at order flow and know what you're doing. If you don't, then just wait for a proper high hold or a low hold to enter onto a trade. Yeah, and that's it for the update for now, guys. We are pretty much just extending higher. If we wait out another hour or two, we might just get ourselves the SFP that we were looking for. But if you're not, I am just gonna hold this long, and I could probably extend it much higher. So if you ever see me having a 10-hour trade, you have to understand it started and began with a 2 hour trade, which I kept extending based off of the momentum the market had. And it's very rare these trades come up in this market these days because it's a very choppish market. And once they do, you have to recognize them and actually really take profit off of them. Do I partial these tenor trades? I try to partial them only when I feel, not feel, only when I feel like there is actually a break structure happening. And once that happens, is when I partial them. If there is no break structure happening, if there is no signs of reversal, I'm just gonna carry on to the trade with the same risk I had right around here. I'm not gonna close any of them. But if I do feel and see that there's actually a break structure, and what time frame should it be? Honestly, I usually am looking for a 3 minute or a 1 minute break structure, because that's something that you can like recognize early on. And if we are able to see something like that, then we are able to, get a TP around that. For the announcement for the giveaway winners, let me just see the names real quick for the people that have won the giveaway. Wait. I don't know what the name of these like people are on Discord. But one is like James XBT, then there's Hanzo, and then there's like one more, which I will post like right after this stream, and I will I will definitely like tag pretty much everybody. Yeah. And that's it for the update for the moment, guys. I really appreciate you guys for joining, and I will see you guys later. It's going pretty well. The trade is going pretty well. I really love what I'm looking at the moment. I'm up some money, and that's pretty cool. And I hope you guys have won a trade as well. I really hope that you have learned a lot from this stream as well. I really appreciate everybody for joining. I will see you guys later, and take care, guys. Don't be losing money out there. Take care. Goodbye.